The wrestling world just witnessed something nobody saw coming, and the shockwaves are still reverberating through every corner of the WWE universe. Triple H has just done the unthinkable by ending Brock Lesnar's legendary career in the most brutal and unexpected way possible, and it all went down in a night of absolute mayhem that involved Bron Breakker in a sequence of events that will be talked about for decades to come. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now because you won't want to miss a single update on this story. The night started off like any other WWE broadcast, but there was an electricity in the air that suggested something big was about to happen. Brock Lesnar had been making his presence felt in recent weeks with his usual dominance and intimidation tactics that have made him one of the most feared competitors in professional wrestling history. The Beast Incarnate was scheduled to appear on the show, but nobody could have predicted what was about to unfold when Triple H's music hit the speakers and the game walked out with a look of pure determination etched across his face. Triple H grabbed a microphone and the crowd erupted, because whenever the cerebral assassin has something to say, you know it's going to be important. He didn't waste any time with pleasantries or build up as he cut straight to the heart of the matter by calling out Brock Lesnar for everything he's done over the past few months. The tension was building with every word as Triple H accused Lesnar of thinking he was bigger than the business and acting like he could do whatever he wanted without any consequences. The crowd was hanging on every syllable as Triple H made it clear that tonight was going to be different and that Brock Lesnar was finally going to answer for his actions. Lesnar's music hit and the Beast came storming down to the ring with Paul Heyman scrambling to keep up behind him. The look on Lesnar's face was one of pure rage as he climbed into the ring and went face to face with Triple H in a confrontation that had the entire arena on their feet. These two legends have a history that goes back years, and the animosity between them was evident as they stood nose to nose exchanging heated words that the microphones barely picked up. Heyman tried to interject and calm the situation down, but it was clear that both men were beyond the point of talking things out peacefully. That's when things took a turn that nobody expected as Bron Breakker's music suddenly blared through the speakers and the powerhouse came charging down the ramp like a man possessed. Breakker had been making waves in his own right, and his sudden appearance added a whole new dimension to an already explosive situation. He slid into the ring and immediately went after Lesnar with a series of devastating moves that caught the Beast off guard. Triple H stepped back and watched as Breakker unleashed a fury on Lesnar that had the crowd going absolutely wild with excitement and disbelief at what they were witnessing. Lesnar tried to fight back, but Breakker was relentless in his assault as he hit suplex after suplex on the former champion. The impact of each move echoed through the arena, and you could see the shock on Heyman's face as his client was being dominated in a way that rarely happens. Triple H then joined in on the attack, and the two of them worked together to systematically dismantle Brock Lesnar in what can only be described as an orchestrated takedown. The coordination between Triple H and Breakker suggested that this wasn't a spontaneous attack but rather something that had been planned meticulously to ensure that Lesnar would have no chance of escape or recovery. The assault continued with Triple H hitting Lesnar with a pedigree that planted him face first into the mat with devastating force. But that wasn't enough as Breakker then lifted Lesnar up and delivered a thunderous spear that nearly broke the Beast in half. The combination of these finishing moves left Lesnar motionless in the center of the ring as medical personnel rushed to check on him. The crowd was in a state of shock as they processed what they had just witnessed, because seeing Brock Lesnar laid out like this was something that simply doesn't happen in the normal course of events. Triple H grabbed the microphone again and made a declaration that sent chills down everyone's spine. He announced that Brock Lesnar's time in WWE was officially over and that what they just witnessed was the Beast's final moment in a wrestling ring. The authority in Triple H's voice left no room for doubt as he explained that Lesnar had become too much of a liability and that the company was moving forward without him. This announcement was earth-shattering because Brock Lesnar has been such a dominant force for so many years that imagining WWE without him seemed almost impossible. Breakker stood tall in the ring alongside Triple H as they raised each other's arms in victory while Lesnar remained down on the mat surrounded by medical staff. The message was clear that a new era was beginning and that Bron Breakker was being positioned as the next dominant force in WWE with the full backing of Triple H. The symbolism of the moment wasn't lost on anyone as the torch was being passed in the most brutal way imaginable. Heyman was beside himself at ringside screaming and protesting, but his words fell on deaf ears as security prevented him from entering the ring. As medical personnel helped Lesnar to his feet and began escorting him up the ramp, the crowd gave him a mixed reaction of boos and cheers. Some fans were thrilled to see the Beast finally get what they felt he deserved, while others showed respect for his legendary career despite the controversial ending. Lesnar looked dazed and defeated as he was helped to the back, and the cameras captured what may very well be the last image of the Beast incarnate in a WWE ring. The emotion on his face told the story of a man who had just seen his career come to an abrupt and humiliating end. Backstage, the chaos continued as news of what happened spread throughout the locker room. Wrestlers and staff members were gathered around monitors trying to process the magnitude of what had just transpired. Some were celebrating while others expressed concern about the manner in which Lesnar's career had been ended. The controversy of the situation was compounded by the fact that Triple H had used his position of power to orchestrate this attack, which raised questions about whether this was a professional decision or a personal vendetta finally being settled. Interviews with other superstars began flooding social media as everyone wanted to give their take on the situation. Some praised Triple H for having the courage to do what needed to be done, while others criticized the method and questioned whether Lesnar deserved such a brutal send-off. The wrestling community was divided right down the middle, with passionate arguments being made on both sides. What couldn't be denied was that this was a historic moment that would be replayed and analyzed for years to come as one of the most shocking ends to a legendary career in wrestling history. The implications of this event extend far beyond just Brock Lesnar's career ending, as it signals a major shift in the power dynamics within WWE. Triple H has made it abundantly clear that he is willing to make tough decisions and take drastic action when he feels it's necessary for the good of the company. Bron Breakker has been elevated to a new level of importance and credibility by being chosen as the weapon to take down Lesnar. The young powerhouse now has the momentum and backing to become the next big thing in professional wrestling, and his association with Triple H gives him instant legitimacy in the eyes of the fans. Questions are now swirling about what this means for other established stars who might be viewed as problematic or past their prime. If Triple H was willing to end Brock Lesnar's career in such a public and brutal fashion, then who else might be on the chopping block? The locker room has to be buzzing with speculation and perhaps a bit of fear about what might happen if they step out of line or fail to meet expectations. This creates an atmosphere of uncertainty but also motivation, as everyone will be working harder than ever to prove their value and avoid becoming the next target. Paul Heyman released a statement later in the evening expressing his outrage at what had occurred and promising that this wasn't over. He claimed that Brock Lesnar had been wronged and that there would be consequences for Triple H and Bron Breakker. However, given that Triple H is in a position of ultimate authority within WWE, it's unclear what recourse Heyman actually has. The statement seemed more like the desperate words of a manager who had just lost his most valuable client than a legitimate threat of retribution. The ratings for the show skyrocketed as word spread about what had happened, and fans tuned in to see replays and analysis of the historic moment. Social media exploded with reactions ranging from shock to excitement to anger as the wrestling world processed this seismic event. Hashtags related to the incident trend worldwide, and mainstream media outlets even picked up the story due to the dramatic nature of how it all went down. This kind of attention is exactly what WWE wants, as it keeps them in the public consciousness and drives interest in their product. Looking at the bigger picture, this move by Triple H shows that he is willing to be ruthless in his vision for the company's future. The decision to end Lesnar's career wasn't just about removing one performer, but about sending a message that nobody is untouchable and that the company will always come first. This philosophy might rub some people the wrong way, but it's also the kind of strong leadership that can drive a company forward into a new era of success. Triple H has proven time and again that he understands the wrestling business better than almost anyone, and this bold move is just the latest example of his strategic thinking. Bron Breakker's stock has never been higher as he stands on the precipice of superstardom following his role in taking down the Beast incarnate. His power and intensity were on full display, and he showed that he belongs in the main event picture. The booking of having him work alongside Triple H to dismantle Lesnar was genius because it immediately establishes him as a credible threat to anyone on the roster. Young fans who might not have been familiar with Breakker before now know exactly who he is and what he's capable of achieving in the ring. The wrestling landscape has been fundamentally altered by the events of this night, and there's no going back to the way things were before. Brock Lesnar's absence will be felt whether you loved him or hated him, because he was such a dominant presence for so long. New stars will rise to fill the void, and fresh storylines will emerge as WWE moves into this new chapter. The unpredictability of what happened proves that anything can happen at any time, which is what makes professional wrestling so compelling to watch. Fans are already speculating about what comes next for all the parties involved in this situation. Will Bron Breakker continue his ascent to the top of the card with Triple H as his mentor and advocate, or will he face backlash for being involved in ending a legend's career? Will any other veteran step up to challenge Triple H's authority and the way he handled the Lesnar situation? Will Paul Heyman find a new client to manage, or will he disappear from WWE television along with his former beast? These questions and many more will keep fans engaged and tuning in to see how everything unfolds in the coming weeks and months. The production value of how everything was presented also deserves recognition, as the cameras captured every moment of the chaos perfectly. The audio of the crowd's reactions added to the drama, and the commentary team did an excellent job of conveying the significance of what was happening. Every element came together to create a segment that will be remembered as one of the most impactful in recent wrestling history. The replay packages and video editing will ensure that this moment lives on forever in WWE's archives. What makes this story even more compelling is the personal history between Triple H and Brock Lesnar that dates back to their own battles in the ring years ago. There's always been a level of real-life tension between them that occasionally bubbled to the surface, and now it appears that Triple H has finally settled the score once and for all. Whether this was truly about business or if there were personal motivations involved may never be fully known, but the result is the same regardless. Lesnar is gone, and Triple H has cemented his position as the ultimate authority figure who isn't afraid to make the hard decisions. The future of WWE looks different now without Brock Lesnar on the roster, but that doesn't mean it's a bleak future. Change is necessary for growth, and sometimes the change has to be dramatic to have the desired effect. New stars like Bron Breakker represent the next generation of talent that will carry the company forward. The established veterans will need to step up their game knowing that their positions aren't guaranteed. The overall product could benefit from this shake-up as it forces creative to think outside the box and develop fresh storylines that don't rely on the same handful of names. This entire saga serves as a reminder that professional wrestling at its core is about creating moments that fans will never forget. The combination of athleticism, storytelling, and drama came together perfectly to produce something truly special. Years from now, people will still be talking about the night Triple H ended Brock Lesnar's career with the help of Bron Breakker. They'll debate whether it was the right decision and whether it was handled properly, but they'll all agree that it was absolutely unforgettable. That's the power of great wrestling when it's done right, and this was definitely done right from an entertainment standpoint. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated on all the fallout from this incredible night, because this story is far from over and you won't want to miss what happens next in this wild journey.